Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another behind-the-scenes episode with some of the cast of the Mystery Lounge's Viral Murders. We are here talking about episodes 10 and 11, which is also episode 6. It's complicated, but it works, trust me. We've all listened to it. We're going to be talking about it tonight. I'm going to start off by bringing in Tash, who is obviously the writer as well as Max Powers. Tash, Max has got quite a lot to do in this episode, hasn't she?
Yes. In the first part, she's doing a lot of interviews with the characters, trying to sort of figure out who's guilty. Well, she's listening to the interviews that she's done in the past, and this one she finally hacks in and speaks to them all, and is as irritating as ever.
And there's a nice little bit of interplay with Max and Blue as well, which I thought was which is always nice to see. Dylan, those scenes, because we didn't always have those, we didn't always record those scenes as a big group. How did you get, and you had to re-record a lot of stuff as well. How do you get on with those sort of things? Because it's a lot more comic reliefy than some of the other stuff that's in the episodes.
It was. Even though I had to re-record them a few more times, technical glitches on my end. My apologies, but they were always a bit of a pleasure to do, just because it's like every time Blue speaks, he's always pissed off with Detective Powers for some reason or other, and he just knows the joke that she normally plays on him at the very end is going to turn up at some point. And even when he thinks he might get away with it, she's going to do it. She's going to get him. But I think they're among the definitely a part of the funny scenes, mainly because that's what they are. They are comic relief, but giving information at the same time. And he's an outlook for my pissed off voice. So thanks very much for that, Tash. Definitely.
And we've also had a lot of sort of good stuff again, sort of some comic reliefy stuff from Yellow this week from Matt. Matt, again, as the series is progressing, what are you thinking of the episodes? How do you think that they're coming across right now?
Oh yeah. I'm loving every episode. Each week, they just keep growing and growing and growing, and it's just becoming more and more intense because the numbers are getting short, and it's getting a little bit more, everybody's getting more cutthroat the further into the series and episodes you go. And in this one in particular, I felt Yellow was like, I suppose that looking for that rise out of people. He absolutely loves to try and be a center of attention, to get the rise out of people, and he's loving the fact that Green and Red are having an argument, and he's loving the fact that Blue and Pink are having an argument, all these domestics and all this. Like he's loving this. He's like the reporter on the sidelines going like, and now this in this corner we have this guy, and he's that guy, and he's just loving this. He's getting a buzz from seeing these guys fight and argue all the time. You can just tell.
And there are some really good fights in this as well, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. especially like later on when you just see all of what Green's done come out in the open, and he's just like, yeah, he's a scumbag, he deserves to die. Yeah. So, and it's all just like, it's just finding, he loves to find out the scoop, the dirtiness of all these other characters. That's the sort of person he is. He's a news reporter, isn't he? So he's going to go out there and get all that information out.
And of course, we always the question is on something like this is who is the murderer? And we might have seen this week, there are a couple of options for who that murderer might be, and one of them who was very definite on who was going to get killed and when was Red. So, Avadni,
yeah,
did you do it? You
my dog just arrived.
I wasn't expecting to see that.
My dog just arrived, didn't she?
Oh, the biscuit.
It's my biscuit here. Yes, Oh gosh, yes. I was well in murderous mode this week. Well in murderous mode, wasn't I?
To be fair, Green was winding you up quite a lot with the "It's a leaf on the wind! It's a leaf!"
I love that line.
They killed him. Absolutely bloody useless he was. Completely useless. He seemed to think that we were all going to listen to him and let him answer the riddle. And then, of course, the nasty situation he had with Pink, which was quite revolting.
The manipulation that it came through brilliantly on that sort of
it did, yeah,
section.
absolutely. And the fact that he kept saying, "I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. That was your idea. That was honestly, it made me want to throttle him even more as a person, let alone as a flipping character. If we'd had been in the same panic room, he would have died anyway, but he'd have died by my obvious hand rather than any other hand that I might be manipulating.
I just want to say it was the interaction between Pink and Green that I've particularly enjoyed this week.
Oh, okay.
So I'm completely with Evadne on this.
I think that kind of triangle, the pink, green, and red. Yes, and for some reason I was going to say blue. But that would be a square.
Yeah, blue's in there as
But
well.
there is those the elements of it. I think that there's. Sorry.
The thing is, though, that blue didn't react in the same way as red. Did he? I mean, blue didn't
No,
really
that's
have
very true.
a lot to say about the green
Yeah.
situation.
He was defending me, wasn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah, he was
defending me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was quite an interesting little twist of character.
It was. And
Yeah.
while we were listening to the episode, my wife just turned to me and went, "You're a right shit, you are, aren't you?" Well, what she said about
She
green.
knows you well.
What she said about green was, when red gets hold of you, you're going to have no balls left up. Yeah.
Does anybody have that problem where they've been in something and somebody that they know in their life somewhere just automatically associates them with that character, often the bad guy in whatever it is? Have other people had that as well?
Well, I've had that with this. I mean, listen, my other half, she certainly had a few raised eyebrows. Like, oh yeah. I'm like, remember? It's just a character. It's not me. Yeah, okay. Got my eye on you.
It shows what a great actor you are, Jay.
When really the person that we have to be very wary of is Tash, who not only has written all of these things, but has decided how everybody dies as well. So that's kind of worrying. Ruth, what are your thoughts on this week's episode? Have you enjoyed it? What do you think that people could take away from this these particular two episodes?
Oh, good Lord. Like I say, as I was saying earlier, it's been what's particularly stuck with me is this interaction between Pink and it's just the whole gaslighty nature of it all. I mean, is it Green? Yes, Green.
Yes, Green.
Yeah, Green.
Yes.
Basically changing or trying to change the narrative inside Pink's head.
Yeah.
No, not Pink. No, it is Pink. Yes.
Pink.
Sorry,
Yes,
yeah.
it's Pink.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I just want to call people by their. Am I allowed to call actors by their names?
You can
Yes,
call
of
the
course I am.
actors
Yeah.
by their names, just
Actors,
not the other name of the actual character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to give it away too
no.
much.
You could
No,
call Green
no,
Jay.
Yeah.
Jay
Yes.
and Lee. Jay and Lee. That's easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there's quite there's a really decent back and forth there, and I like the way that it touches on this kind of manipulation, which does actually go on in real life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Very much so, yeah.
And that's kind of the whole point of each episode. Is there something that reflects on real life?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was very much the point with this episode. And Tash, tell us a little bit about how difficult it was to actually bring something which is a very difficult subject to talk about anyway into what is essentially a play, and has to have the humour with it, and has to have the kind of everything else with it as well.
Gaslighting is quite a close one to my own heart, because it's happened to me. So it's some of these scenes where I'm kind of showing this type of manipulation or this type of gaslighting. These are things that have been very similar to something that's happened in my life. A lot of it's me kind of sort of going, right, I've got to get this out of my head and get it on paper somehow. So it was quite a hard thing to write, as I was sort of trying to, because I'm having to sort of remember the things that have happened, but kind of cathartic at the same time, because I got to kill the character that did it on this one. But yeah, it's kind of, I wouldn't actually kill someone in real life. It's,
She says.
She says, yeah. Dun,
Not again, anyway.
No. But yeah, I mean, it is quite hard, because obviously, one of the biggest things in terms of trying to sort of show people what it's like, there's a lot of misnomers. A lot of people will sit there and go, oh, well, it can never happen to me. I thought that, I'm too clued up for it to happen to me. Oh, well, I've noticed it straight away. But one of the things I tried to show in this episode particularly, and a little bit more subtly in some of the other episodes, is just how insidious this kind of manipulation is. And the hardest part is it is trying to get that humor in there, because it's not a funny subject. It's actually quite a disturbing thing to happen, and it can be quite damaging to the people that it happens to. So trying to sort of get that balance in, because you want people to be engaged, so you need that comedy in there. But at the same time, you also need to show, without sort of undermining the experience of people who have been through that type of thing. That particular scene took quite a bit of editing. So I tried to sort of put the comedy around the scene rather than in the actual scene itself. So that scene was kind of, does that make sense?
Yeah. Definitely. Now, very difficult things to do, obviously, and it's worth touching on. But we couldn't finish today's video without actually talking to the scummiest of scummy characters, Jay, and Green, obviously.
By the way, Green. Jay is such a nice man. You can't call him the scummiest character is
he is basically the polar opposite of this character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you find actually doing the part then? Because it is, playing against type, and it is something that people have to do all the time. How did you find these particular scenes?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was so much fun. So much fun. Like you say, it's completely different to the kind of person and the morals that I have. So it's just so much fun to play that complete opposite. Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Which parts of it did you find most difficult?
Which part did I find most difficult? Probably the line when I say, "Dirty little slut that you are." Probably that was the most difficult bit, because I would try and burst out laughing if I wasn't careful. So that was probably the hardest line to deliver.
It's such a horrible line. It's a brilliant line, but it's such a horrible.
It is horrible as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the most ghastly thing you can say to a woman.
Especially
when you're manipulating her. It's a brilliant line.
It is a very good line, yeah. And of course, your death was this week as well. Spoilers, everybody. You should have listened to the episode first. How was that? How was actually going and dying?
That was a lot of fun as well. Yeah, to be honest, I had fun with that. I can't remember who did I record it with? Was it with you, Avadni? Or yeah. So I just remember having a lot of fun dying. It was great listening to my death.
I'm still trying to figure out how you actually died. It's just
I think I got squished by something.
Squashed.
Yeah, I did get squashed because it was going to be a poison. dart gun.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
but the-
that went out the window, and then I just got squished by something. Yeah.
Yeah, the
could have
murderous
pressed the wrong
voice. The murderous voice gave a choice, and it was one between one or two buttons. One would release this
yes.
dart, and the other release
Right,
something much
yes.
more horrible. But
Yeah.
murderous voice didn't reveal that until Green pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
Or did
That's
they?
right.
Or was it all manipulation? Well, we won't know, and we might never know.
And is he really dead?
And is he really dead? Well,
Good
yeah.
point.
Is he really dead, or is he actually the murderer? Which he might be. Anyway, that's it for this particular video.
I don't know. I think the crunching sounds probably gave it away, and the fact that somebody did actually die, but
Yeah, you don't know that. You don't
No,
know.
because Green could be a good
Killer
actor
is a
too.
very, very clever person.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I sound like that when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
eat a tube of Pringles, so I couldn't necessarily say that. But
Fair
that is it for today's video. I'm basically saying to the cast, shut up now. Until next time, thanks ever so much for coming along. If you have liked this, then please give it a big thumbs up. You can do that with the little thumbs up button down below. If you're new here, please click on subscribe, the little bell icon, and the all notifications tab that pops up at the end as well. We will see you in the next episode of Behind the Scenes. And of course, we'll have some other videos coming up, and there's some more episodes coming up shortly as well. Until then, thanks ever so much for watching. Bye, 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 everybody. I knew how to start that word, I just didn't know how to finish it. Bye!
Bye bye bye.